Hi there. We're continuing in Sanhedrin Perik Ches, Mishnah Vav. We learn Mishnah Vav and Mishnah Zayin today. In the previous Mishnah, we saw an unbelievable statement that Chazal make that in regard to a Ben Soyer U'Moire, the Mishnah said, Ben Soyer U'Moire Nidon al Shem Soifoi. A Ben Soyer U'Moire is executed al Shem Soifoi because of his end, not because of what he cumulatively did up until this point. But the Torah foresees that the Ben Soyer U'Moire will go on to become a murderer. He will sit on Parshas Drochim, hold people up, be a ganav, a gazlan. So in order to prevent him from committing crimes in the future, we execute him here and now. Now comes along the Mishnah and says that there is one other such case in the Torah of someone who is nidoin al Shem Soifoi. The Mishnah uses the same reason to explain another ruling of the Torah, namely about Abba B'Machteres. Abba B'Machteres. That if a burglar is caught tunneling into a house, the owner of the house, or anyone else for that matter, is allowed to kill him. And this is a very well-known posuk in the Torah in Parshas Mishpatim, Perek Chav Beis, posuk Aleph, where the Torah says, "Im b'machteres yimotze aganav." If the ganav is found b'machteres, he's found as he's tunneling into the house. Vehuka v'meis, and he was killed. Ein lo domim. This is not considered to have been a murder, but it is considered that he was deserving of being killed. There are a few very important Rashis there. Im b'machteres. Im b'machteres. Kishahoya choyser es habayis. When he was tunneling into the house, he came b'machteres. He came in a hidden way. Ein lo domim. What says ein lo domim? Ein zu retzicha. This is not considered a retzicha. Arei hu kemeis meikoro. A very, very unbelievable statement. Rashi says in the name of Chazal. Arei hu kemeis meikoro. When he came in b'machteres, it's as if he was already a dead man. He was already a dead man. How do we know this? Kan limde Torah, here the Torah teaches you the very famous klal. Im bo lehogecha, ashkem lehogo. Habo lehogecha, ashkem lehogo. Somebody who comes to kill you, you have a right to come, get up, swiftly kill him. V'zeh lehogecha bo. This fellow, he came to kill you. How do we know he came to kill you? Sharei yodehu, because everybody knows. She'ein odem ma'amid atzmoi v'roi she'noitlim imenu she'noitlim amoin imenu v'shoitek. Nobody just stands by and says, okay, take my stuff, take everything, go disintegrate. Nobody does that. Nobody simply passively allows his property to be lost. Lefichach al minas came shim yamid balamom kinegdo yagen. Therefore, if and when the fellow defends his property and the fellow is going to attack him, I have a right to attack him first. So now says the Mishnah, we have another case of Nidon al Shem Soifoi, just like we had in the previous Mishnah. That a Ben Soyer U'Moire Nidon al Shem Soifoi. So is Abba B'Machteres. Says the Mishnah, Abba B'Machteres Nidon al Shem Soifoi. A burglar who enters a house through a tunnel that he dug beneath is judged on account of his end. Nidon al Shem Soifoi. That is, one may kill such a thief, one may kill such a ganav when he's tunneling into a house in order to prevent him from killing the owner. So someone who tunnels into a house knows that the owner will not stand passively by, that the owner will fight to protect his property, and that he might therefore have to kill the owner. And since he nevertheless persists In doing so, in coming b'machteres, he's presumably prepared to kill the owner if necessary. And therefore, if there is no other choice, one is allowed to kill him in order to save the owner's life. Now, versteht doch that tunneling into a house is just an example of how a burglar breaks into a building. The same halacha, of course, applies if you broke in using a different method, right? Now continues the Mishnah that in view of the fact that killing such a burglar is mutal pidin Torah, so in view of the fact that killing such a burglar is permitted, the burglar, the ganav, is viewed like someone who is liable to the death penalty. He's already like a dead man until he leaves the house. Or it is otherwise clear that he will not kill the owner. If it's clear he's not going to kill the owner, you're not allowed to kill him. So there is a general principle, there's a general rule that if someone becomes subject to the death penalty, and this fellow has become subject to a death penalty, as I pointed out, that Rashi, who uses that very insightful phrase, who says, "Ein zoretzicha, ein lo dam, ein zoretzicha." Why? Arei hu kemeis mikoroi. It's as if he's already a dead man. He knows a priori. You do this, you're going to be killed if necessary. So therefore, there's a general rule that if someone becomes subject to the death penalty, and at the same time to a monetary obligation, if he's mechuyev misa, and he's also mechuyev mamoin, so the halacha is he's exempt from the monetary obligation. This is the very well-known principle in Shas of kamle midarabba minei. Kamle bidarabba minei. Kamle bidarabba minei means that he's kamloi the rabba minei, the greater punishment. The greater punishment. So if someone is mechuyev misa and simultaneously he also became mechuyev mamon, he will only get misa. He will not have to pay the money as well. Kamle bidarabba minei. So the principle is that someone becomes subject to the death penalty and to the monetary obligation at the same time, he's exempt from the monetary obligation. So now our Mishnah applies this rule to this burglar here, to Mr. Baba Machteres. Says the Mishnah, if the burglar was entering the house through the tunnel that he ducked through, and as he came in, he broke a barrel full of wine or full of oil or full of vinegar, or whatever it is. He broke this barrel. Under normal circumstances, if all he did was break the barrel, and the barrel is worth $350, he has to pay $350. So, says the Mishnah, what's the halacha here? He came tunneling in and simultaneously he broke the barrel. Im yesh lo damim. What does it mean, im yesh lo damim? If he has blood, which means he deserves to live, and killing him is forbidden. So then chayav, he's obligated to pay for the barrel. But im ein lo damim. If he does not have blood, which means he deserves to die, and killing him is permitted, so then he's potu. He's exempt for paying for the barrel. Right? In the second case, where killing him is permitted, he's viewed as though he became liable to the death penalty right away. And therefore, if he became liable for the death penalty right away, this exempts him from any monetary obligation, from any dinei mamonos that were incurred at the same time. And therefore, he does not have to pay for the barrel that he broke. In the first case of im yesh ledomim, in the first case, however, where killing him is forbidden and he did not become liable to the death penalty, then there's no reason to exempt him from paying. To explain it a little bit better, what says im yesh lo domim? If it's clear that the burglar has no intention to kill the owner, killing the burglar is then also because the owner's life is not in danger. What a good example if yesh lo domim, if it's clear, if it's obvious that he's not going to kill the owner. So the very famous example that's given is if a father breaks in to a son's house. It is assumed, Chazal assume, that the father would not kill his own son, and therefore he may not be killed. That the Rav says, Im yesh lo domim chayav, says the Rav, kegoin ha'ov abo b'machteres alaben. The father is breaking in, tunneling in to his son's house. Should be yadua, that it's well known, it's assumed, it's a davar poshut. Sherachmei ya'av alaben. The father's rachmin, the father's compassion, the father's mercy is always with his son, in spite of the fact that he wants to rob him of $100,000. And therefore, so what if it's assumed? Therefore, ein ben rashoy la'argoy, and therefore the son has no right to go and kill him. V'im shovar avachovis, and if the father breaks the barrel, chayav l'shalim, because he becomes chayav in dinei mamonos, but there is no dinei nefoshois. Continues the Mishnah Zayin. Ve'elu hein shematzil noitza benafshon. The previous Mishnah taught us that a ganav who breaks in to a house may be killed if necessary in order to prevent him from killing the homeowner. Now the Mishnah tells us that there are other such situations. There are other situations where someone becomes nidon al shem soifoy, and therefore elu hein shematzili noisem benafshon. The following are those people whom we save from sinning, even at the cost of their lives. That is, one must kill them if necessary in order to prevent them from carrying out their intention as we see it. Who are they? Number one is someone who is chasing after another person to kill him. We see somebody running after somebody with a knife. We see somebody running after someone with a gun. We see someone running after somebody who's holding a rock ready to throw. So therefore, we see that he's roidef achaveru lehorgoi. So if we see somebody's being roidef achaveru lehorgoi, we are permitted, not merely permitted, we're obligated to save the person being chased and to kill this roidef, to kill this person who's doing the chasing. The second is achar zocho, a man chasing after a male, after a man or a boy, to violate him against his will. And the third case is v'achar nara murosa, a man who's chasing after a betrothed nara to violate her against her will. Right? Nara murosa. The Mishnah specifies a nara murosa, a betrothed nara, as opposed to any other married woman, because the permission to kill a pursuer, the permission to kill a roidef, is implied by a pasuk that speaks specifically of one who violates a betrothed nara. The Torah tells us in Devarim Perich Chav Beis, in Devarim Perich Chav Beis, pasuk Chav Zayin, the Torah tells us there Ki basode metzoro tzar kanara. She yelled out for help. Tzaka nor amoiroso, vein moishiyalo. Vein moishiyalo. Right? So the Torah tells us specifically about a case of a nor amoiroso. So again, we have three cases. Aroi defach hachaver le'orge 1, aroi defach hazochel 2, and aroi defach hanor amoiroso. In each of these cases, there's no other choice. One must kill the roidef in order to save his intended victim from either death or violation. Now this chiyuv to kill the roidef, to stop this pursuer, rests upon anyone who has the ability to do so. However, he may not be killed unless he was warned first to stop. In addition, he may not be killed if he can be stopped in some other way. For example, by wounding him, by shooting him in the leg, by throwing something at his side to topple him over. But if those possibilities do not exist, then the Torah tells you that you can go ahead and kill the roidef, just like the ba b'machteres. Now the other point that I want to clarify is that this Mishnah's halacha about someone who intends to commit murder is somewhat different than the previous Mishnah's case of a ba b'machteres, which concerns the burglar who is prepared to kill the homeowner. In the case of a burglar, since it is merely assumed that he will kill the homeowner, killing him is only permitted. In the case of our Mishnah, where he will certainly kill the person, he's being roidef to kill the person. He's chasing after him to kill him. Then, killing him is obligatory. It's not simply permitted. It's obligatory. It's an important distinction to remember. Then the Mishnah concludes, however, if someone is chasing after an animal to sin with it, or someone is chasing after someone who is mechalel Shabbos, somebody who you see is going to desecrate the Shabbos, or you see somebody who is going to be oived avodah zorah, ein matzili noisan benafshon. We may not save any of them at the cost of their lives. We may not kill the guy who's going to be mechalel Shabbos now. We may not kill the guy who's going to be oived avodah zorah now. We may not kill the guy who's going to sin with an animal, even though these are among the most serious averos in the Torah. It's also to kill the pursuer in order to prevent them from doing these averos. It is certainly forbidden for shteitzach to kill someone who is about to do any other avera other than these three very chamudik averos. One is obligated to kill a pursuer only where it is necessary to protect his intended victim in the three cases that we listed. And it could have been thought, the Meforshim explained, including the Rav, it could have been thought that one who pursues an animal may be killed to prevent it from sinning, because this is similar to cohabiting with a forbidden person. And likewise, it could have been thought that one who is about to worship avodah zorah or desecrate the Shabbos, they may be killed because they basically deny the most basic precept of the Torah, which is the belief in one God. Worshipping an idol contradicts the belief in one God. Desecrating the Shabbos contradicts the belief that the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world. In order to correct these misconceptions that if you go ahead and violate such basic precepts of the Torah, that the whole Torah depends on them, you can go ahead and kill them? Says the Mishnah, no. To correct this misconception, to correct these mistaken assumptions, the Mishnah teaches us that killing the pursuer is forbidden even in these cases. And it therefore obviously logically follows that killing someone who's about to commit any other Avera, Afilu in Avera that's punishable by Kores, Afilu in Avera for which there's Chiyuv Misa, it's certainly forbidden, and the only thing that is permitted is to forewarn the person, to forewarn such a person about to do an Avera, and if he sins anyway, then take him to Bezdin, and they will go ahead and give whatever psak is necessary.